Everybody, let's do a quick newsletter from our brother Todd Bennett with ShemaYisrael.net, and it just came out. And I will read it, I think, as is. If I feel the need to self-censor something, I will do that as well. So we'll just see what happens. Shalom. Today is day 12 of month 2 on the Creator's calendar, also known as May 14th, 2022 on the Roman calendar. It is also the 27th day since the resheet first barley offering would have been presented by the priest. We just passed the middle point in the count to the Feast of Weeks, Shavuot. I sometimes tune into the radio while I am driving around and scan the news to see what the controlled media has decided Americans should focus on. The primary stories that mainstream media has been recently talking about are the ongoing Ukraine issues, gas prices, the Supreme Court leak of a decision that would reverse Roe versus Wade, and now baby formula shortages. I also noticed that President Biden and world leaders are continuing to push for massive vaccinations. The money continues to flow to the vaccine companies as they push to vaccinate the youngest, even infants, as well as the poor. Now, for the YouTube narrative, guys out there, none of this is going against anything. We're not saying anything contrary to that. They can't let go of the COVID narrative because it allows them to funnel vast sums of money. It also appears to be an important component of the population reduction and control agenda. A timely world war might enhance that goal. That too provides an incredible opportunities to spread around a lot of cash. Other stories that the mainstream media is not focused on as much include the devastating health consequences of the stuff, the looming diesel shortages, the continuing supply chain breakdown, the serious drought that is hitting America, and the impending food shortages and famine. These all fit the agenda of those advocating for a great reset and the implementation of a new world order. If you haven't seen it, check out my short video on the Georgia Guidestones that I produced at the very beginning of the pandemic. Now, for those who are out of the United States of America, the Georgia Guidestones is this ginormous stone structure that a whole bunch of Satanists put together, and they put on it that they want everyone in the world to have the total world population of what the Satanists would approve is 500 million. So 500 million worldwide, and that takes us from 8 billion down to nothing. And with a little work with, as our buddy Kill says, with a little bit of work with shots and stuff, we can bring that dramatically down 10-15%. You just got to look between the lines, folks. This is going in different directions than I thought it was. Here we are. None of these issues are good news, and they are all pointed to difficult days ahead. Last week, I talked about the fact that we are in the midst of the harvest, and the fact that this was a specific and intense time when people would traditionally work hard to store up food for the upcoming year. This was not something out of the ordinary. It wasn't panic buying or hoarding. It was simply a part of their regular routine. It was normal to prepare for a full year. They would then bring their first fruits, Bikurim, after the wheat harvest to honor Elohim, who provided them with their bounty, that is, if they were walking in obedience. If they were not, they would be in drought and famine, and their Bikurim would reflect that. As they gathered at the house of Elohim, their condition would be obvious, and a good high priest would either lead the people in celebration or repentance, depending upon the circumstances. Today, while America has a variety of people offering political guidance, they are all missing the mark on what America really needs to be considered great in the eyes of Yahuwah. And I would say they are missing the mark as they are delivering the mark. That's my side. First and foremost, they must be his people. They must seek him and his ways and follow his instructions. They must also humble themselves. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. 2 Chronicles 7:14. That's the formula for success, and it's not happening. In fact, many people in American leadership are promoting agendas that will surely lead to the destruction of the country. The obsession with abortion is one of the greatest issues that I see. And if the leaked opinion of the Supreme Court stands, it may be a litmus test for the people and the individual states in America. And I haven't talked to Brother Todd, but I will tell you the entire Roe versus Wade thing is not what anybody thinks. And I'm not going to say what I think it is. But it's not what you think. It's nothing good. There's nothing good that is coming from this. They wouldn't, right? Abortion is too big of a business. This is not going to happen, just so you know. The decision would essentially leave it for states to decide how to handle abortion. It is, after all, a state issue since the Constitution says nothing about abortion. And again, we must see that everybody has plans and plays and things in action, and nothing is what it seems. Many abortion advocates are outraged because they know that some states will allow the killing of babies. In fact, all of them, all 50 states. How many babies have been killed since Roe versus Wade? Lots. And now they have abortion pills. You don't even need an abortion clinic anymore. You just take a pill and kill the kid. It's that easy. Imagine that. They want desperately for women to have the choice whether or not to kill her child. And that's not even her child, it's Yah's child. Most of the time it's simply a matter of convenience. For some, it's more convenient to kill a child than it is to raise a child. What an incredibly sad commentary on these people's hearts. Pure wickedness. A woman's right to choose, right to kill. I'm sorry. It's just so crazy when you say you have a right to choose to kill something. Has been classified as a healthcare issue. Incredibly, the argument is woefully deficient. How is it a right for a woman to choose what she does with her own body when it is the body of the infant child that is actually being destroyed? The logic, I think he means, is incredibly flawed and downright evil. It fails to acknowledge that the child inside of the womb is a miracle provided by Yahuwah through the union of a man or woman and a woman. And of course, the transgender mania spreading across the planet is attempting to cloud the order established by Yahuwah from the beginning of creation. I'm going to step in again, and I do not believe the transgender movement is like wildfire, except in Babylon. I believe in Babylon, North America, the men have become women, and the women have become men. I don't see. There's definitely some weirdos outside of Babylon, but it's nothing like Babylon. Like, it is completely mental illness there. Now, people feel that they can ignore and even change their sexual identity based upon how they feel. Well, today I feel like a gray elephant, so I will be an elephant today. Then they want to impose their delusional and often fluid condition upon society by compelling others to refer to them using their preferred pronouns. Call me the gray elephant. I only want to be he, the elephant. These people likely suffer from hormone imbalances, mental illnesses, or influenced by parents or teachers. Or, shall we say, GMO-ridden food, lack of Torah, lack of parenting. I guess he said parents. Ultimately is a spiritual issue at the core. Nevertheless, society is embracing this movement with open arms, thrusting it into the forefront of mainstream society. Even sicker yet, I was looking at a bathroom this week on a picture in a school in North America, and it was a girl's bathroom, and there's a man's urinal on the wall in the girl's bathroom. That's the girl's bathroom now. So I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. Why not fracture and separate society even more? Sadly, it is a continuation of what we've been witnessing for decades. Divide and conquer is the best way to defeat an enemy. Let your enemy do the work for you by simply disintegrating and collapsing it on itself. You can then simply walk in and pick through the rubble. America was so focused on nuclear war with the Soviet Union that they missed the war on the culture that was taking place right in front of them. What they saw as a natural evolution of society was really a well-planned and coordinated attack on the moral underpinning of society. It was a culture war that America and much of the Western society has lost. And I'll go even further on this, which I normally don't do. This was actually a CIA construct way back in the day. In fact, it actually came from the Nazis on how to, and they were saying this back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, about how they had plans to basically do what they're doing right now, to basically take out the men, make women where men were, take out the testosterone, make it just a really easy to take over society. Yes, and much of Western society is lost. The United States are currently anything but united, as people cling to their personal devices that monitor and track their every move. While many attempt to veil and transform their identity through the use of avatars and social media and in the metaverse, it is reflective of the confusion and separation occurring in the real world. I will take that a step further. If the people of Yah are in the metaverse, I would shut that off. I do not believe that the people of Yah are in the metaverse. Take off all virtual reality glasses and seek Yah where he is found. He is not there. I marvel at the number of people who hide behind false images to represent them online. People have been conditioned to redesign and rename themselves into their own image. Some now want to carry that into their physical existence. I can go on and on with the trouble this country faces. But the simple fact is this country is in terrible shape. It is rotting from the inside out because it has no soul, nefesh, at least not one that is pleasing to Yahuwah. As this country decays from the inside, there are forces from the outside attempting to destroy it as well. This has been going on for decades, and the religion of this country has offered no solution. I don't know what religion of this country is. There is no religion in the United States. They're a cesspool of every religion in there, and that's what Jeremiah 15:51 say. Christianity was a lawless religion created by Rome and incorporated loads of pagan traditions from its inception. It then began to divide and fracture into countless denominations until we now see many churches displaying the LGBTQRSTLNE flag. That is why the voice from heaven cries out, "Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins and you receive in her plagues." I'm taking this yet another step forward, and I believe this means stepping out of Babylon. Like, we are not supposed to be in the United States of America or anywhere in the Babylon system. And that's going to be very hard for most people who have just woken up in the Babylon system. But if you are to come out of her so you do not receive her plagues, that would mean you would have to be isolated from her, withdrawn from her, away from her, so that whatever plagues come that way, you are not owned. This warning applies to all Babylon, including her religion, whatever that is. It is a mistake to continue to identify with a corrupted religious system when you are supposed to identify with Yahuwah. You are only classified as my people when you are in covenant with him. If you are in covenant with him, then you obey his instructions and display his sign, the Shabbat. Yahuwah often assists humble and repentant people, but he allows the destruction of a people who turn their back on him. America is not only ignoring Yahuwah, America has rejected him, and much of society is giving him a big middle finger. I just noticed this week that they have an emoji for that. Yes, Brother Todd, they've had an emoji for that for a long, long time, my friend. Well, he has an emoji of his own, and it can be viewed in the heavens. It may be that he has a timely response for America through his signs in the heavens. If you haven't had a chance to watch my video, Signs in the Heavens, I suggest that you have a look. Take a look. We are actually in the midst of a series of solar eclipses over the United States that present a stunning message and warning for this country. I don't know if he goes into this, but if he doesn't, I'll touch on this. During the course of 7 years, from 2017 to 2024, the track of these eclipses create an Aleph Taw over the United States. For those unfamiliar with the Aleph and the Taw, they are the first and the last characters of the Hebrew language, and combined, they represent the word. I will fill in the missing details of this. So for you guys who do not know about this, I believe it was 2017 when this eclipse, there was one side of an eclipse and it went completely over. I think it was the left side, or maybe it's the right side. Nicole's pointing the right, I think left. But anyway, it's one line of an X, right? Now, when this eclipse goes through the next time here in just a little bit, it's going to actually create an X right over the top of the United States. Like, literally, Yah is saying, this country is gone. I'm going to destroy this. So, Yahushua is identifying himself with the Hebrew Aleph and Taw rather than the Greek Alpha and Omega in Revelation 1:8, 1:11, 21:6, and 22:13. So it appears that Yahushua himself has something special planned for America. And guys, if you don't understand what I'm saying, read Jeremiah 50 and 51. There's some special stuff there. Revelations talks about the special stuff he has planned. He has a party heading up for North America. Those signs culminate with a combined penumbral lunar eclipse at Passover after sunset on March 24th, 2024, followed by the third solar eclipse on April 8th, 2024. That's less than 2 years away. Okay, so actually the Taw is coming across in 2 years. Interestingly, while we are currently in the midst of the harvest and counting the days and weeks to Shavuot, the Americas are going to get a sign tomorrow night. A total lunar eclipse, sometimes referred to as a blood moon, will last for almost 1.5 hours. A partial eclipse will begin at 10:27 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, with a total lunar eclipse starting at 11:29, according to EarthSky. The total eclipse will end at 12:53 a.m. Monday, and the partial eclipse will end at 1:55 a.m. Just in case you have poor eyesight, this will also be a supermoon due to the moon's proximity to the Earth. So it's going to be big. Now, That's kind of funny because the book of Enoch says that the stars, moons, and everything, they all have one path, and they never take anything different than the path. So I guess it'll be interesting to see the supermoon. Interestingly, it coincides with Pesach Sheni, also known as the second Passover, that occurs on day 14 of month 2. A penumbral eclipse involves the moon passing through the Earth's shadow. The full moon, clothed by the sun, has its light removed. This caused it to appear red, thus the description of blood moon. These lunar and solar eclipses involve the sun and the moon and are unique to our perspective from Earth. They fall within the designated signs involving the two great lights as described in Genesis 1:14. They are clearly meant to get our attention, and the ancient Babylonians specifically attributed a blood moon as a sign against the king. I have always warned not to go astray when considering these signs. Specifically, I told people in the past not to get distracted by the tetrad moon, hype promoted by certain teachers and preachers. While they probably sold a lot of books and made a lot of money, it was a total non-event because these were not consistently seen by the same people, and one of them could only be seen in a remote part of the Arctic. As I have repeatedly stated, a sign is only a sign for those who see it. So you must place these signs in their proper context and view them from the proper perspective. Regardless of the message provided through the sign, I always consider them a reminder to look up. Remember the words of Yahushua when he said, "And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near." Luke 21:28. What were these things? Luke 21:25 says, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring." This passage was in direct response to the question concerning the destruction of the temple, but it sure sounds familiar to what we are seeing today. See Luke 21:5-7. Yahushua was talking about the impending judgment on the house of Yahudah by the Romans in 70 CE. Nevertheless, I suspect that he would also provide similar signs prior to the judgment of Rome and Babylon. There was another instance when Yahushua instructed his disciples to lift up your eyes, and it involved the harvest. Don't you have a saying, "There are yet 4 months, and then comes harvest"? Behold, I say to you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white, ripe, are ready to harvest. John 4:35. Interestingly, we are currently in the midst of the grain harvest in the covenant land when the fields are literally white and ready to harvest. Also, there are 4 more months until the fruit harvest that precedes the Feast of Sukkot. So we are getting a sign in the midst of the harvest. Coincidence? I think not. Yahushua made a statement after revealing himself to a Samaritan woman at Jacob's well near Shechem. Joseph's bones were nearby. The message was very clear. He was talking about gathering the lost sheep of the house of Yisrael that will culminate at the end of age. He then went on to state, "And he who reaps receives wages and gathers fruit for eternal life, that both he who sows and he who reaps may rejoice together. For in this the saying is true, one sows and another reaps. I sent you to reap that for which you have not labored. Others have labored, and you have not entered into their labors." John 4:36-38. Ultimately, all the bad news consuming the world should not distract us from the task at hand. We need to keep counting and stay focused on the harvest. Our purpose is not to worry about simply saving our own lives. It is about being ready and able to labor in the harvest that results in wages and fruit for eternal life. The question is whether you are out in the field reaping or simply in your home stocking your pantry. Make sure you don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Next week, I'll share some of the lessons that I have learned from the harvest this year. Shalom. Todd, Shema Yisrael.net.